Hello everyone, IanXIlyana here, environmentalist, human rights activist, American civil liberty supporter. I did a great thing today. I made a brand new petition. So change.org/Kentucky Needs You is a petition to veto Senate Bill 89 over in the Kentucky State Legislature, whatever. The legislative body wants to make a bill that would allow them to pollute local water in eastern Kentucky, specifically in rural communities. And that'll just ruin the health of the people who live there. So I made a petition because that's just what I do. I'm a disabled American veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma. I don't go out much, but I love country music. I have always been treated more or less rather well by people from the South and people from Southern communities. So when they need help, I'm going to be there. In the description, you will find several articles and petitions. Please look upon those articles, look upon those petitions, and try to make a change for the better. Hello there, Mackenzie. How you doing there? IanXIlyana here. Nice to see you. Welcome to my channel. As all, I just wanted to give a bit of an update. As you can see, I have the worst style. I have absolutely the worst style. But I'm really good at making petitions to try and save communities. So that's what I did. I made a petition for Eastern Kentucky. And thank you for asking if I'm okay. I'm all right. My poor dog is not at her best. She's dealing with the issue of another dog attacking her from the building that I live in. So there you see fluffy bot over there. Just loves to be on camera. Trying to steal my bed again. I see you. I see you. Oh well. Hello, B. Hi. How are you? Yeah, fluffiness behind me. Well, if you're gonna, you're gonna. Are you gonna? It's just a special dog. Subconsciously, she's trying to say that she will guard that spot until I return back to it. And she is adorable. She's a sweet girl. As she's clearly just stomped in bed again. What is it now, love? Yeah, that's love. So I had to spend all of yesterday trying to take care of her the best I could. It's not something you needed to go to a veterinarian over. It's just sad. I live in a community where my service animal is attacked by some woman with a pet who couldn't even put a leash on the dog. It just makes me mad. It really does. Ahmed, welcome. Welcome to my channel. I am an environmentalist and a human rights activist. And I may not seem it, but I am a staunch believer in American democracy. And right now, we are not seeing the democratic process benefit people in America because you have senators who are supposed to be representing Kentucky, representing their constituents, and I don't see a future where you poison the water supply of these people who've lived there for generations. And number one, you stay in office, and two, that's in the best interest of the people who live there. I mean, long term, I think the goal is just to eradicate rural Kentuckians and then steal their land. Look, they did it to my people, Native American, First Nation. That's what they do in America. And, you didn't bat an eye then, and you're not really doing much of it now. I mean, these are some Native American First Nation people who are going to be affected by this, but they're going to be a lot of very, very destitute white people who are going to be affected by this. And yet still, I don't see national news coverage on this. I don't see the American Academy of Country Music encouraging people to veto Senate Bill 89 in Kentucky. Chris Stapleton is from Kentucky. Ashley Judd is from Kentucky. Johnny Depp is from Kentucky. There's lots of people who come from Kentucky, and the state needs you. Kentucky needs you. Change.org/Kentucky needs you. Where am I from? I live in Los Angeles, so I guess I'm a Californian. I don't really feel Californian. Probably because I live like right here. But oh well. How you doing there, doggo? All that to circle around because she feels that I'm upset right now. Good girl. How am I doing? I'm barely hanging on. I really am, because I want to leave Los Angeles, California. I want to move to someplace else. Hi there, Mac. How are you? Good evening. And thank you for the love. I have a brand new petition. I know every day it's another brand new petition, but I made a petition for Eastern Kentucky to veto Senate Bill 89, which would allow them to contaminate Kentucky water supplies more thoroughly. And that's not something that we want. That's not something that speaks to the character, to the very soul of what it means to be an American. These are American citizens just like you and I. If they need civil liberty protection to be able to live in rural America without Johnny Law saying, well, no, you thought that you could, escape having to pay for movie tickets and popcorn and fizzy drinks that rot your teeth and all that. Well, now you're going to have to pay for water, because now you can't trust the water that's on your property, the water that you owned. You owned your own water supply. Now you got to go to Johnny Law for that. I don't agree with that. I don't. I think that if you own land in America, not an apartment, not a house, if you own land, like a farmland, that should be yours. That should be yours, because that should belong to you, your kids, your kids' kids, your grandkids, everyone. It should belong to you. But when you have to go outside for every nickel and dime that you earn, just shoved into these people who don't have your best interest, because if you pollute the water, you're giving people cancer. You're giving people, just horrible things. It's going to wreck their livers. It's just going to make them sick. And why would you do that to America? I mean, these people, I don't know. Maybe I just feel too deeply. Maybe it's on me. Maybe I'm alone in this fight. I hope not. I hope people care. I want you to care. Because if this was your city, if this was your town, your state, or something like this happened, you'd be upset. You would say, I need help. I want someone to listen to the stories of, how bad it is. But that's just what I think. I think too highly about Americans helping other Americans because I've been trying to go for my disability benefits and I keep being denied. I keep being denied because I come from an immigrant family, and that's racist to deny me my disability benefits. And that's just where things are. But I'm just one person. But I'm not the first person to be affected by military sexual trauma. I just happen to be really loud about it. And thank you to the person who left the comment. I'm never going to shut up about military sexual trauma. It's a blight upon the armed forces. It's a terrible thing that they should be held accountable for. And by they, I mean the United States Air Force, in my particular case, and the entire American government, and also the American people. How often do you go about your day and you don't think about, wow, I'm enjoying my day, but somewhere there's an American serviceman being raped, there's an American serviceman being sexually abused in the name of freedom. Because it's always government sanctioned, and these people are deriving a paycheck to rape and sexually abuse. So the public should be made aware of that at every chance that I can give them. LSD Trip, of course I remember you. You're the coolest. And plus, I've always remembered you because I do deaf music videos, and my deaf music videos always begin with, let's make some LSD. So, of course I remember you. Welcome back. It's a long time no see. I took a break, you took a break, but you're here now. I haven't really done much of my deaf music videos because X was censoring me. All I'd say is just another day in Los Angeles, nothing to see here. I don't really say any more than that because I feel so emotionally drained. But even that was enough to lock my account on X. And I had to do like a "are you a human person" thing. And it's just, that's BS. It just means that I didn't pay the X subscription fee for a monthly service because I'm not going to. I'm not a famous person. I'm just some disabled American veteran who makes deaf music videos and talks about disability benefits. I'm not going to pay for a monthly service for that. LSD trips, good. Yeah, man, I haven't seen you in weeks, I believe. Yeah, I've been less than consistent lately because my PTSD is just on high alert. It just really is. And every day that I stay here, it just seems like things get worse. I've been living across from a woman with a megaphone for like 3 years now at this point. And like, I'm sick and tired of it. And I keep talking to LACTA, the housing authority for the area, and I keep telling them, can you just give me my portal so I can go to someplace else? Because I'm a veteran, I'm allowed to move to someplace else. I mean, I'm at the point where, sure, I could go back to going to homeless shelter to homeless shelter to homeless shelter, but I could also stay within the HUD-VASH system and go to someplace else where I might feel a bit more comfortable. Now, I'm not exactly saying that moving to Eastern Kentucky, which is what I'm actually thinking about doing, because they need a hero and LA doesn't need me. LA has stars and may the force be with you. That's what people are talking about. They're talking about that. And I saw Anakin Skywalker and whatever the name of the Samuel L. Jackson character is. It just shows that, I mean, look, I I've tried my hardest to stick it out, but I'm just not invested in that kind of world. I really do wish I was, but I'm a realist. I have to live in America right now. Like I see America and I see what's going on in Eastern Kentucky, and I'm saying, I just don't care what any celebrity has to say. I really don't. Because these are people like you and me, American citizens, and they're having their water contaminated. Can you imagine you live on this farm for years? Your parents lived on this farm, your grandparents lived on this farm, and then all of a sudden you pull up that water and it gives you a smell, an odor. You have to try and burn the oils that are off it. You know, disinfectant is in your water to the point where it'll give you cancer. But nobody cares. Nobody cares. No offense to Hayden Christensen or Samuel L. Like, I love you both. And I'm just really upset right now that the algorithm of Meta and all of that, like, I go onto Meta and it's like masturbation notice, meme, jokes, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, that's what you think I am? You think I'm a person who wants to joke around right now? People in Eastern Kentucky are fighting for the right to drink water, and Meta wants to tell a joke. And then I go to Threads, and Threads is, may the force be with you. I'm like, who the fuck cares? There are people in Eastern Kentucky who don't know where they're going to get their water from, who say, you know what, I'm not going to drink the water if they're not going to drink the water. But they still cook with the water then. They don't drink water, but they cook with it. They don't cook with it, but they'll shower with it. They'll wash their hands with it, hopefully after using the bathroom and before using the bathroom. But either way, dog again. See that? The dog is just, she steals my bed every single time. But either way, those people need someone who lives in the area and is willing to go to state legislature and sit in on town hall meetings or host a town hall meeting and say, we need to solve this. We need to speak up because these senators that you elect and you say, well, this person's protecting my guns rights and this person is protecting local businesses. Well, this person is trying to poison your water and you left them in office to do so and you don't question them. Like right now, people in Eastern Kentucky are not fighting this hard enough. I went to the Eastern Kentucky, subreddit and I posted that petition because I said, if you didn't know about this, you know about this now. You already have tornadoes and floods to worry about, and they contaminate your water as well. I mean, you have to worry about E. coli in your water. I mean, it's not a good system in this day and age with all the climate change to rely upon groundwater, fresh water. And this is a wake-up call for both sides of this argument, because there's the side of the argument of you shouldn't be using something that's already this hard to keep clean and fresh. But the other side of it is, well, it was always fresh until you people got in here and started doing stuff. When you started messing with the environment, that was a problem. When you started dumping illegal chemicals, that was a problem. When you stopped investing in things like city upkeep, people think that a city is just, buildings and roads. It's more than that. It's waterways. Like, it has to come from somewhere and it has to go to someplace. This is why I live in England. You are a star, the Mars star. Ha! You're not wrong about that. Clint has always been kind to me, invites me on the show all the time. And he always introduces me as the one who's trying to go to Mars. And that's absolutely the case. I have in my description, change.org/genius to Mars. It's my petition because I want to go to a university like Cambridge and say, would you allow me to, number one, build a couple of prototypes and give a dissertation on some of the physics theorems that I've been working on for these past few years? And I haven't gotten enough signatures. I want to, because I see what is going on in America and in other nations where people are just getting fucked over by the government. And the government will always tell you, well, you don't really own your land and you really don't have any rights. And you can just listen to them, or you could say, well, I don't have rights with you. I don't have rights here. But I should go where I could determine my own rights. And that's Mars. Mars is not a country. Mars is not in a treaty with, I mean, they've made treaties for space operations and things like that. Like, who the fuck cares? At a certain point, when you are that distance away from the Earth, you might as well just say you're on your own. Belinda, I love you. That is a kind thing to say. I'm super puzzled. I'm just puzzled because if I had my disability benefits, I'd be on Mars by now. But instead of giving me my disability benefits, it's no, could you stay in Los Angeles more while we refuse to give you your portal so that you could move to another city or state. Not that I even want a portal, I want my disability benefits, because if I have my disability benefits, I could get a house, property where I could say, you know what, I have a problem with female Americans after I've been sexually abused by a United States Master Sergeant of the Air Force, sexually abusing me. Here's a thought. Why don't I own a house and therefore close and lock my door? If I want to go out, I can go out. I can go straight to my fucking gay bars and then come straight back to my house and just say, you know what? I don't really hang out with girls. I just, whatever. Or I could say, you know what? I stay in and I get stuff delivered. And if I do have to talk to a female, it'll be through an intercom to my mailbox down the road. And I'll go to my mailbox, pick up whatever I need to pick up, and then go straight back into my house. That's what I want. I want the dignity to have my own space. So I don't have things like a woman on a megaphone every day outside my apartment. Because it's not my apartment. This apartment building has had nothing but women break into my apartment, attempt to break into my apartment. I have to be clear upon that. The door is actually pretty good. So, but they have trespassed into the apartment building, which is kind of worse. Because you can't just stay in your apartment all the time. Even as a PTSD survivor and a misanthrope after that, I just can't stay completely in my apartment. All right, or you could go to the bar with the bartender. Belinda, you are funny. I'm not going to read that, but I'll just do you a favor. Look, I get it. You know, it's ridiculous to do stuff like that. It's ridiculous to go to a bar. It's ridiculous to go to a movie theater. If you really think about it, because it's just, you're hanging out with a bunch of strangers who you don't know, you don't like, and for the most part, they don't have sex with you. So, like, why the fuck do you hang out with them? I mean, true, if you go to a restaurant, you're not exactly expecting, people to have sex there, but then again, why did you go to that restaurant? I'm just saying, I would rather stay in my own place, and if I want to watch a movie, I'll watch a movie in my own place. I have a great concession stand. I know the chef. The Okay, so I'm saving money by staying in, but I would rather not be staying in because I'm having PTSD flashbacks. I would much rather just stay in because I have my own house and I have a good entertainment system, and that's it. But I digress. It's not about me. Today, I'm going to talk about Eastern Kentucky because these people need a hero. So it is Sunday, Monday. I'm going to have to talk to Lacta again and say, stop your fucking bullshit. I don't like your fucking city. I don't like your fucking state. I need to go to Eastern Kentucky and help these people. Hopefully they welcome my help. I mean, it would suck to move all the way out there and then, they say, we don't like transgender people, or we don't like you because you're the wrong skin color or something like that. But I'm not going there for the likes. I'm going there because they need someone to speak up for them. If they're, Kentucky people who are speaking out, good. You're just not speaking out enough, because everyone needs to know what's going on in Eastern Kentucky, because what happens in Eastern Kentucky can happen to you. And even if you live in England, it can still happen to you. Don't think for a second that these greedy industrial companies aren't going to cut corners and let environmental hazards ruin your health and then lie about it. I can't exactly say that everyone thinks about sex when they go out. I do. Maybe it's because I'm not getting any right now and I'm very single. I'm very single. But I do think about that of, if what I want is a companion or a partner or a boyfriend or something like that, why the fuck am I spending good money to hang out with a bunch of strangers who could never become my boyfriend? I mean, I'm not exactly saying that's never happened before, where, someone, went to a movie and then sat next to a stranger and the stranger started a conversation on the way out. I don't know. My game isn't that good, so I'm not going to really try that. I just would rather just admit that I want to change the scenery. I really do. Because all the guys that I'm into, they don't look like these Californians. Like, I moved to California because I said maybe this place would be more therapeutic to someone with PTSD and military sexual trauma. Cool, relaxed vibes. Just people who are chill. But nah, that was the South. That's not this. Hi, Clint. Thank you so much for checking in. I was talking about you earlier because you always refer to me as like pretty much the man from Mars or the man going to Mars. And yeah, pronouns they, them. But either way, I have a new petition, change.org/Kentucky needs you. Kentucky needs you. It needs you, Clint. It needs me. It needs everyone in America to start speaking up, because this water contamination bill, Senate Bill 89 in the Kentucky legislature, is going to allow them to put more pollutants in rural groundwater. So everyone who's in a rural community who had a little aquifer, little, artesian spring that they had used, best tasting water, the water that they would use for their crops. By the way, crops that they're probably selling, crops that they put into local restaurants and people are eating across Kentucky, not just in the eastern Kentucky area where the water is bad now. So yeah, it's a big issue. It really is, because if it happens there, it happens everywhere. So we have to make a stand now and say, I stand with Eastern Kentucky. I actually made a song for them. I'm an artist. So yeah, I made a song for that. So that's out now. All right, I'll be checking that out as soon as I can, man. Of course, Clint, thank you so much for coming by. It's in the description if you want to take a look at that. Change.org/Kentucky needs you. Sign that petition, Clint. I want you to think about that, because you, if I may, you do live in a rural area by yourself, and wherever you get your water from, to bathe, to clean your dishes with, wash your hands with, it's at risk. It really is. So I want you to be safe. I think about people in these rural communities, and I don't know them, but I know you. And I would think that as someone who I consider at least an internet friend, or at least a genuine, decent person, or even just an American citizen, I want you to have the same rights as I do to access to clean water, because you're an American citizen. This isn't something that we've ever really talked about, because we just assume. You assume that when you pull the faucet and the water starts flowing, it's good. You assume that. You don't know, because not many of us are chemists, and not many of us are taking water samples every day to check. We use Brita filters here and there, but everywhere? Do you use that in the shower? Do you use that on your sink? Because it's at that point. Stay safe, my friend. What about the Native Americans? I started change.org/clean air disco because of Canadian environments that were being polluted, specifically in indigenous areas where these trucks were driving through. They carry hazardous material, and if they have an accident, they're having an accident on Native American First Nation land. So cleanup is going to be a huge bureaucratic mess. And because of the lifestyle, people are not going to be that quick and able to make the shift to filtered water and to triple filtration systems. I mean, you really need to have environmental protection throughout all of North America, because our waterways are all connected. If you pollute in one area, those waterways will make their way all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, to the Pacific Ocean, and all the waterways in between. So it's time to care. I don't think there's another way to put that. I need people to care. Homie, I'm still here. Don't worry about that. I'm glad. Clint, you're absolutely right. And even if you think it's perfect and you think that your system is functional, keep up to date. You may have to change filters, you may have to get an outside report, but these are dangerous times, my friend. You know, you really have to take this seriously, because these people in the Kentucky legislature who would even suggest adding more pollution, just ruthless people. Either way, hope begins at home. So I hope this has been informative for all my fans. If you want to know more, there are articles and several petitions in the description. Thank you everyone for coming in. Clint, Belinda, Funny, LSD, thank you so much. Mac, thank you for coming in. Thank you everyone. I'm gonna consider it the show for the day. Muppet, thank you for coming by. I am finishing the podcast for today. I have a brand new petition, change.org/Kentucky needs you. It's a petition to veto Senate Bill 89, which is a bill that will allow more pollution to be added to groundwater in rural communities, which will poison and ruin the health of American citizens. I want to do more. So it's a comprehensive plan, my Kentucky Restoration Bill, which is something I'm working on, where I want to give them fresh water. I want them to have free comprehensive medical screening, because if they have any residual effects from being exposed to these hazardous materials, I want them to know. Knowledge creates options, and right now they need to know the facts. So please consider my Kentucky Restoration Bill, which I hope once I become a resident of Eastern Kentucky, I can present in order to protect them from further contamination. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming by. I will see you on the next podcast. My name is IanXIlyana, and this is Eastern Kentucky Needs You.